No, there's. I got another one maybe in 10 or 11. No, probably not.
All right, I'm calling the meeting to order.
It's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
make it up.
Yep,
Mary Ann, you need a
record
gavel?
later. 12:49.
Sounds good. Welcome, everybody. Today is Wednesday, May 8th, and this is our regular monthly board meeting. And we're glad to see everybody. Before we get started, Wayne, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
This is your first town board meeting. You were at the joint board meeting. Who was that last week or 2 weeks ago? And so we want to welcome you,
Thanks.
and I hope you have your seatbelts on,
Mhm.
because you're in for the ride of your life.
We went through a half hour a lot earlier, so he's.
Oh, you got through the audit? Okay, good, good. So welcome. Okay, the first item on the agenda is approval of minutes of the regular meeting of April 10th of 2024. Is there a motion? I'll make a motion that we pass those minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion, questions, corrections? All in favor, say aye. Aye, carry. Correspondence. We have quite a few correspondence here. You all got a copy of the Chamber's first quarterly report. We have contracted with them for $4,000 for the year, and they've sent their first report for the first quarter. So that's a good thing. They're doing a lot of good things for us. The next item is I received a letter from the New York State Town Clerks Association. Heidi was awarded her association certification as a registered municipal clerk. Congratulations, Heidi.
Thank
on
you.
that. Next item is, we got a correspondence from Judy Olin. She is interested in applying for grant money to help preserve the Olin Cemetery on the Sykes Road. The fence has partially collapsed, and her husband found a charitable organization that they can apply for a grant. They are looking to get funding to replace the fence and the sign around that cemetery. There's connections to the Olin Cemetery and Judy and her family. So I did send the board, her original request, as well as she sent pictures today. So I sent those to the board also. So I'm bringing it to the board to see if there's general support on them applying for a grant. We would have to have more information regarding that. But I'm opening it up to see if there's general support for that project. I did talk to her about the headstones. You can't touch. You can't disrupt any of those plots legally. So she is aware of that, but the fencing and the sign could use an upgrade.
Well, I think we're gonna have to refer to Eric on this one, because it may not be as simple as that, because the cemetery now is in the hands of the town of Canton.
Mhm.
And so now we've got a private organization that I think legally we probably could, or maybe not, turn it back over to somebody if they want to do a cemetery association. I know there was a service group a while ago that all of a sudden want to do the same thing, and they're the ones that I think originally
They put the fence
put
up.
the fence up. And it started out pretty good. You'd see 8-10 vehicles there, taking care of the cemetery on a bi-weekly basis or whatever. And it was going pretty smooth, and the town basically hands off, stayed away from it. Then all of a sudden, nobody was showing up. And back up in the hands of the town of Canton. Town of Canton, by law, is obligated to maintain that cemetery 3 times a year. Town Highway Department usually does it Memorial Day week, for Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day is when they go out and do the mowing and whatever. But right now, that is a town of Canton cemetery, so I don't know what the legal end of it is, liability and everything like that, if all of a sudden an outside group.
Mhm.
I understand what they want to do, and I appreciate that they want to do it. But we need to make sure that what they do.
Yeah,
Is-
Mary, if you want to forward the correspondence, I'll take a look and we'll make sure that we can do it in a way that protects the town.
And if you contact, and they're pretty good, I've been there before, contacted the New York State Department of, there's cemeteries and whatever. And there's different rules and regs. If that cemetery is registered with the state, I don't know that one is. I know Walworth is, and that was an accidental one that we were doing some roadside mowing on Walworth Road and happened to catch something with a roadside mower. It turned out to be a cemetery stone. That didn't even know the cemetery was there, and so now that is fenced. The town takes care of it. And I think when that happened, the highway superintendent at the time contacted the state to see what needed to be done, and it ended up getting registered with New York State Department of Cemeteries, but, it,
Okay, so I'll send
We
it
had-
to Eric and you can wait for an opinion on that.
we've had people in here before on the Norton Cemetery on 68
Right.
wanting to do work.
Yeah.
Because it was a family type thing, again, it's in control of the town of Canton, and so, yeah. It'd be wonderful if, a group wanted to come in, form a cemetery association and take it away from the town and maintain it better than, than we've got the capability of doing. But it usually ends up that we just end up getting more cemeteries, not less.
Okay,
So,
all right, so I'll send that to you, Eric, and then we'll go from there and I will let Judy know as well. The next item is, you all got an invitation to a groundbreaking at the Bent Bean Brewing, business that's going to be opening, up next to the Reserve Center, and that groundbreaking is Friday at 3:30. I'm not able to be there. I don't know if any other, board members able to be there for the groundbreaking. You could?
Yeah.
Okay, it'd be nice if we had a representative there, but I'll be out of town, so. Okay, great, thanks, Wayne.
it would be at the cemetery.
The White Silo, there's a ribbon cutting tomorrow at 4. That's also a new business, so you're all welcome to join me with that. I will be there. The next item is Stephen did receive the CHIPS reimbursement, letter. It's a little bit down. We were hoping it would be up, but it's a little bit down from what we got last year, but not as bad as it could have been. Right, Stephen? Okay, you all got the email from MJ Engineering on the comprehensive plan. The survey is going to be available, and we need everybody to fill out that survey. As you remember, we have a contract with MJ Engineering with the village so that we can keep up with the comprehensive plan. So there is a survey out there right now. So if you need us to send that again, just let me know. Okay, that's it for correspondence. Before we move forward, I have to add something on the agenda. I think it got erased when I was adding something else. Under new business number 7, it's the 2025 town budget development process. It's just an outline of all the dates that we need to meet, and I start my process in June, and then we go all the way up until November. So we have a couple of working sessions, and it's a real fun thing. Okay, town finances reports. Angela.
Good evening. The packet for finances includes the detail of all of the funds, but I just want to review, we are 1/3 with this report, we're 1/3 through the year, 4 months ended. And just as a review, on the yellow page, all the funds are in a surplus position at this point in time. More direct to that is how are the appropriations faring fund by fund, or being 1/3 throughout the year. And the A fund is right on track as far as total appropriations versus spent appropriations. The town out fund, town B, just at a quick glance, there does look like we've met almost or more than half of the appropriations, but there was a transfer back to the general fund that's skewing that number. When that's adjusted, that lines right up with what we would anticipate for about 1/3 spent of those appropriations. The same with the DA fund. DB fund, we have not spent very much of that fund year to date, but what is coming up is the summer, road chips money, et cetera, so we'll see that get spent probably rather quickly in the next 3 months. And, the other two funds, SF and SL, special fire and special lighting, as anticipated, so overall, things appear to be moving as budgeted throughout the year. In terms of cash, just to give you a kind of overview of that, 15% of your cash is held for special purposes. The remaining 85 being designated for town finances.
Any specific questions on the report?
Yeah, I'm glad to see that.
I can't hear you.
I am glad to see that for the first time in about 3 years, justice fees are tracking with where they should be for what we've been, for what we budgeted.
Mhm.
That's the first time we can see it nationally.
Couple of
True.
years.
Taking a while.
Yeah.
We did receive our second quarter sales tax check today in the amount of $265,726.78. It's down about 4,000 from this time last year. Our first quarter, we were down about 4,000, so we're lagging a little bit, close to a little over 8,000 from last year, which is okay. But we're within the budget, and now all the we have satisfied the other accounts, and all of it from now on will we have to satisfy the highway DB account, so that was good news. Okay, how about clerks?
Sure, the town clerk for the month of April there, we did review the records in that office and everything was reconciled. The town realized approximately 1,550 in fees this month, which is down approximately 10% over prior year, which relates to the change in building permit. So that's where that source of revenue saw a slight decline, April 24 to April 23. And year to date, the town has an increase in overall revenue from the town clerk's activities. And we had a year to date revenue of $5,271.
Heidi, do you have anything to add? No. Any questions? All right. Thank you, Angela, and thank you to Danielle for all her work. Audit committee. That's Wayne and Jim.
Go ahead.
So the general A, the total is $91,014.81. Town B, or outside B, 72,114.31. Town highway DB, 15,535.72. Town highway DA, 13,716.62. Special fire, 5,396.83. Special lighting, 284.39. And TA, 25,317.34.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
You want
Carried.
them, Heidi? Did you get them all?
I got him. Thank you.
Okay, department reports. Heidi, would you like to start, please?
Sure. Okay, so we continue to be busy collecting the town and county taxes. The third installment is due May 31st. I just wrote a really big check to the St. Lawrence County Treasurer's Office for $1,100,000. And that will be the last check until we close out. So the county will get one more check, and then the town will also get one more check, which will include second notice fees, interest, and miscellaneous collected. So I attended the Nistica Clerk Conference this month, and the biggest takeaway is gonna be for the DEC licensing sales in our office. Just so hunters are aware, in August, the hunting license will no longer be on that Velron, colored little card things. It's gonna go to plain paper, 8x11. In my report, I did attach like a sample copy if you guys want to look at it, of what it will look like. So just a heads up to the hunters, that change is coming. They are also encouraging this agent of sales to encourage hunters and fishermen to give us their correct email addresses, because when this change happens, all your licenses will be emailed to you, so that in the event that you lose your license, instead of coming in for a replacement fee and paying me to print it and replace it, you can print it from home. And then for fishermen, fishing only, if you do not have your license on hand, as long as you know your DEC ID number, or you can pull up that email, you won't get ticketed. But that is only for hunting, or I'm sorry, it's only for fishing only. The huntermen still need to have their tags on them. At conference, our fellow town clerk, Cindy Gleaver, Town of Potsdam, received the Clerk of the Year award, which is amazing. So that was pretty awesome. The Communications Technology Committee, we haven't really met as a whole, but part of our group has been meeting. So Sally, Anna, Barb, and I have been working on the new website. We had our first 2 training sessions, which included Sally, Anna, Barb, Meg Richardson, Lee Rodriguez, Jenny, Reed, Tasha, and myself. And then we've met twice since to work on the new website. It has been very time consuming trying to get this up and going, because now at the moment I'm doing 2 websites. So every time I upload something to our website now, I have to re-upload it because the sitemap plan that we created has already been uploaded. So all new changes we make, or anybody that wants any minutes added, I have to do that with both. So I cannot wait for this to go live. The group that met for that first training is going to meet one more time. And then hopefully we'll have a live date for you. It will be a 72-hour, like we'll put a ticket in to go live, but it takes about 72 hours for it to actually go live. Our request is that that happens on a Monday, not on a Friday. So over the weekend, if something isn't working correctly, we'll be able to fix it. Been busy with FOIL requests, busy with the dog warden, and then I have an upcoming training next month for records management, which I'm really excited about. So they're going to have a lot of vendors there, especially ones that offer grants, and not just grants to have your records digitized, like grants so you can get filing systems. So I'm really excited about that, and that will be in Alex Bay. So I think that's about it on my report.
Any
If anybody has
questions?
questions.
All right, thank you, Heidi. Cindy on Zoom, why don't we go with Cindy next? Yep. Cindy, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, good evening. Okay, let's see. We're down to the wire. We're going to grievance May 28th, from 4 to 8. And prior to that, I'm gonna have the bar meet on May 14th at 4:15. We're gonna meet, and Heidi will be there taking notes, and just to get acclimated on what we're gonna be doing different this year and everything. We did get a letter from Elliot, and he has now resigned from the bar, and he's been here 10 years. And it was great working with Elliot. I'm gonna miss him. It was nice when he filled in when Bob left, and I wish him well. Also, the railroad ceiling, I gave you the tentative railroad sailings this week. We got the final railroad sailings, and they did not change. They are the same. Also, I showed in my report that the star exemption, the basic star, is going down to $22,960, and the enhanced went down to 62,300. So, and that was from last year, it was 70,000 on the enhanced star. So they will be seeing a difference in their tax bills for the school, for both recipients, the basic and the enhanced. That's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions?
Anybody have any questions of Cindy? All
No.
right. Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
Okay. I didn't hear from Megan. Did anybody hear from Megan about her attendance? Okay. Lee is not able to be here. Linda's not able to be here. Stephen, would you like to go next?
Sure. Spring cleanup is completed now. We finished this week. You guys are done that. Most of the plow trucks are all torn down for the summer. We have one left together, but it'll be apart soon. And as always, we could use more help at the highway department. Unfortunately, some things out of my control got us in at that point. And at some point, if the board could maybe come up with a resolution to that issue, would be appreciated. Or not into it. We have started our road construction. We've got some culvert pipes in, things of that nature done. Moving forward.
Anybody have any questions of Stephen?
What's the hourly pay?
Oh, excuse me, so is this for the board? Yeah. And I didn't hear what you said, but. Okay. All right, Mike, thank you, Stephen.
Evening, everyone. The month of April seemed like a normal month in the code enforcement office finally, the sun shining. They issued 9 permits for a total of 218,000. Project cost was the amount of $911. I signed up for the North Country Housing Synopsis up in Plattsburgh on May 23rd. Kind of to go over the North Country perspective of the housing crisis and what they call the North Country from Watertown to Plattsburgh. I also attended an informal meeting with EDF and some constituents to go over some ideas of the outside fencing areas prior to the May 7th public hearing. I did have a conference call with a community partnership executive to see if the town of Canton would be interested in saving on their electric bills, roughly around 10%, which was surprising. Talking to this gentleman, his community solar projects are in the Herkimer, Utica area. And I told him that we have like 8 projects in the Canton area, and he was surprised that none of these have reached out to the town of Canton. Projects are moving along. The restaurant is, they've started their outside seating area. Still dealing with the sewer and septic system with the Department of Health. Bordeaux Brothers hopefully will be starting phase 2 of their project this month, their warehouse. They did start. They finished the foundation for their new corn silo at the end of the month, but everything seems to be going on finally.
Any questions from the board members?
What's the tentative opening date for the restaurant? Do you know?
I was thinking July 1st, John, but I'm not feeling it.
On your building permit too, one here, it says the licensee was a contractor and governor. So if a contractor comes in to get a building permit to do a job for somebody, do you issue the permit to the contractor or to the
Yeah,
owner?
depends on how the
System here. Right there. It's Tully
Yeah, Tully, yep, Tully contracting. It all depends on who fills out the bid with. Sometimes the homeowner will fill it out and the contractor will do the project.
So in this case here, it's made out to the contractor.
Yes.
So how does Cindy figure out where this
Be-
happened?
She gets a copy of the permit.
So the permit, on the permit, it shows
Shows the
where
address
the,
and, yeah.
the tax
yes.
map number that
Yes.
goes with it.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, that being said, you all received a cop in the packet is the dog control report as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry, he did add and amended something as well. He added something to his report, just in case you guys didn't see that. It
Mhm.
was kind of added.
Is that the one with the 9 dogs or?
I
you
can't
know, the
remember.
9 dogs?
No, 2 dogs. Someone came in and licensed 2 dogs, so
Okay,
he gave them back. There should be an extra page with that. I just want to make sure you guys saw that.
Two dogs picked up on Eels Road.
Mhm.
I can't remember.
Dan Moyer's pretty busy. In the town of Kingston. For sure.
Doggy dog world.
Okay, with that being said, I need a motion to accept department reports.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried. Committee reports.
I'll start. So I've given you all a copy of the resolution that Fleet Street Task Force passed at their April meeting for recommendations for the Minor Street road surface projects. I sat down with the highway committee and talked about it, and Steve and I have had 2 meetings on it. And I'm gonna, at the meeting Monday night, I'll take this back and share it with the Complete Streets Task Force. So I'm meeting Monday. I met with John and Jim and Steven, but if anyone else, Wayne, if you see anything or Mary that I can add on to this for Monday's meeting,
So this is a resolution
it's of recommendations.
of
It's
recommendations from the Complete Streets Task
Yeah.
Force on the Minor Street Road.
Yes,
Okay.
about the project. So they passed it last month, and I mentioned at the meeting last month that they passed it. Here's copies of it that you all have. And like I said, I've sat down already with the highway and Steven, and you can go back with my findings Monday night.
Okay, so are you looking for feedback from Wayne and I?
If you get before Monday,
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be now, before Monday.
yeah, okay. Okay. All right, thank you. You have another one? Another committee report?
Is there nothing, wow,
Just
No.
what's on the agenda
this
later.
was on the agenda later.
Okay. Okay. I have 3 reports. The Sustainability Committee has met twice since last month, and it's going strong. We appreciate all their work. The Sustainability Committee showed a good showing at the public hearing on the Rich Road project last night. We really appreciate that. So what's being worked on right now is Barbara Beekman, village trustee, and myself were developing a draft resolution to bring to the next joint meeting. The Sustainability Committee has been going for 10 years, 10 years, and they've done a lot of good work. So we're going to be presenting that. You'll get a copy of it before the meeting to consider. So we appreciate all their work. The Building Committee, we're trying to find a date. It's very difficult now, getting back together. But we're working on that. So hopefully, by our next meeting, we'll have a report. The Shared Services Committee, it's the same thing. We're struggling and getting together. We have 4 more shared service agreements to go through. And come up with some final wording in those agreements. So that's those 3 committees. Any others?
Solar Committee met via Zoom to discuss what Bill presented at the public hearing last night of Best Western, so a copy of it now is available with his recommendations were from town and village highway map yesterday morning. There's an item on the agenda tonight, that Stephen will be addressing. And we talked about, because the CHIPS money has finally been, we talked about where we were with our projected road projects. Like you said, we were down a little bit on amount that we're gonna get, and we could pull up to like 1,200 or something.
1222.
1222 that we're down, but the other side of that is the two types of asphalt that we purchase. One's up, what, $2 a ton,
Figure around $2.
and $2 and the other one, $2.50 a ton. Doesn't sound like a lot of money until you buy 13,000 tons of asphalt, and now all of a sudden, we've lost, we gotta spend 23,000, 24,000 more dollars to get the same amount of asphalt. So. But I think we're sticking with the plan that we've got as far as the county has been very, very good to us as far as working with them, and Stevens had real good luck with dealing with Kevin. Hopefully we make everything that we planned on. And so we went over those projects, well, 2 months ago, so.
Okay, great. Any other committee reports? Okay. That being said, old business, we tabled this, the board was considering, changing the time. Discussing a time to change the, board meetings. We tabled it because, we were waiting on the new appointed person, and their schedule, your schedule, Wayne, so. Do you want to change the time of the board meetings from 6 PM? Not later, please. So, I think we talked about, did we talk about 5 o'clock or maybe 5:30 or? So, what do you want to do?
John brought up a good point at the last meeting that if we go at 5 o'clock, it's hard for some people who get done work to get here for a 5 o'clock meeting.
Mhm.
So I mean, as much as it probably would be to help our schedule, I'm not sure we need to go at 5.
I've been to a lot of them that started at 7:30. I know there's towns out there that have town board meetings at noon. I don't have a problem with 6 o'clock.
I think we should leave it at 6.
I prefer to stay at 6.
You're good with it.
Yeah.
We talked about it last month and decided, since we have a new board member coming, we can refer it until, make sure that's fine with you, so.
Okay, is it the consensus of the board? Keep it at 6 then. All right, good. Board committee assignments, I sent you the revised list and, Wayne agreed to, his assignments as well. I know it might be a little bit imbalanced on you, Randy, but you're doing such a great job with those 8 committees that, we appreciate that. It's,
Every other month it's 9.
so this is my feeling now, Randy. It's hard to change mid-year when you've
That's
already,
okay, yeah.
you're
Yeah.
experienced now and you're doing a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
job, so.
We're only a third of the way through the year, I thought. Didn't I hear that?
But this is initiation for him, so, we'll see what happens in January, okay? I'll try to balance it out more. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Minor Street Road Project Trail portion. As the board has already approved the construction through resolution based upon the funding that's received. And on the bottom of that, lower on that resolution, the Minor Street Road Project Trail portion was separate, as a separate item. And I think we projected maybe an additional 45,000 to do just the trail, but there's been concern about the width of the trail, and there's, the committee, you've been discussing it, Stephen's been discussing it, so I'm opening it up to the committee or to Stephen on where we need to go with this, because you're grinding Minor Street soon.
So the grinder is scheduled to be in the area the week of the 20th of May.
Of May.
So in the end, we couldn't go as wide as what was hoped for. You need to have a setback. The shoulders were put in at 5 feet wide. You can't put your asphalt right to the edge or it will push off. It's just the simple fact of it. So you need a setback, so we've had to come back in 2 feet, which will put us at 26 feet of width of asphalt. Overall width right now. So that leads us, there has been talk of lane widths, things of that nature. So I've been researching on. We can get the asphalt down and that doesn't hinder striping lane widths at that point. This can all be, figured out, but right now from New York State DOT design criteria for rural roads. And I don't know how set in stone this is, so I'm still researching that. But on their charts, it goes by speed zone and average daily traffic counts. So speed zone is 30 and 40 on Minor Street. I think the goal, Toby, is to get it to 30, the full length.
Am I allowed to speak?
Oh, well,
Finish.
I'd like
Okay.
Stephen to finish.
so I think the goal is to get it to 30 miles per hour, which that doesn't matter as far as in the 30 to 40 range, it's the same. If you're under 400 on your average daily traffic counts, you can have the driving lane of 9 feet wide. If you're over 400 on your average daily traffic count, your driving lane has to be 10 feet wide by New York State DOT standard for rural road construction. Minor Street Road, anybody can go on New York State DOT and look at traffic counters. That's open to anyone. You can just Google it. And you can close in on your area and you can look at different counters, state, county roads, town roads. You can actually hit one that is put at Fairview Cemetery. And the one that most of them from like 2019 to 2022 are over 900 cars.
A day.
Yes, a day. That breaks it down on there for like morning, noon, evening, different times throughout the day that are peak travel times, average speeds, things like that. There's a lot of information on it that can be looked at. But like in 2019, I know that was 990 cars a day. So I need to find out if it is set in stone that it has to remain at that 10 feet or if it can be altered. So at this point, I can't give a recommendation on the painting of it until I get all of that sorted. But as far as the paving goes, it will be 26 feet wide.
So. Any questions, comments from the committee?
Well, I mean, that doesn't come as a surprise because, I mean, and everybody knows I'm in this project here. And there was more than one that looked at it and said that we'd never get 30 feet. But there was one that said we could get 30 feet, but they don't have them. And so, at the end of the day, this is where we're at today. The drainage is done. There was issues with that. I don't know how that's working. Got through the winter without any, real serious problems. I think there could have been some serious problems, but they got averted. And there's plans that needed to get changed. So it's not been an easy project. It certainly hasn't been an easy one for Stephen. But I still think at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot better than it was. And, we didn't hit the goal of having the you know, the 5 foot lanes on the outside, but. Will they be 4? Or will they be 3? That's, again, you gotta have to. And we discussed this a little bit at committee, you know, the thing that I get concerned about is, you know, our CHIPS reimbursement. Isn't getting any better, and I don't want to push Stephen into doing something that is gonna affect that CHIPS reimbursement in any way. Because we don't lose money because of doing something that, you know, that's. that may or may not be the right thing to do. Hopefully there's flexibility.
So then when you say 30 feet,
Yeah, we never,
what 30?
yeah, we couldn't get to that. We couldn't get to the 30. The original plan was for 30 feet, but it's just not there.
So each lane is 10 feet, so that makes the road 20, and then, yeah. So if we added on 5 on each side.
Yeah,
that's
we'll
your
do that.
30.
So you either got 2 10-foot driving lanes and 2 3-foot pedestrian lanes, or you got 2 9-foot driving lanes and 2 4-foot pedestrian lanes.
I did some measuring on Minor Street on the village end. And that's anywhere from 10 on the driving lanes and 5 in the walking. The driving lanes are 10 feet all the way, but the walking lanes are anywhere from 5 feet to 3 feet. Up through there.
How many blocks is that on this side of the bridge?
Basically starts right between Maple and
Okay.
Clark
That's what I
and goes
thought.
out through. But right in around Clark Street, one side of the road was 3 feet wide, the other side was 3 feet 4 inches wide. So,
Okay.
um,
John, did you wanna add anything?
Well, my hope is it's not set in stone and we can go to 9 feet instead of the 10. For a couple different reasons. I'm really sensitive about having a decent pedestrian lane out there. I grew up on Minor Street and I biked and I walked to Taylor Park as a kid. I was recreation director here for 30 years. I've seen the way traffic goes out there trying to get people to Taylor Park. And I feel if we can get to 9 feet, we're gonna slow them down a little bit more than having a 10. So that's just my feeling on the matter.
So what's the timeline after you mill? Like, what are you talking as far as
figuring out lane widths, that
but as far as paving?
paving,
Do you have-
whenever the county can get to us, generally, that's end of July to beginning of August.
So John, you think 9 feet,
Well, I'm
And then-
hoping we can do that, but
and then. the
like
trail would-
we're hearing, our hands might be tied by the state and we might have to go 10 because of our traffic numbers. I'm hoping that's not set in stone and we can do the 9. That's my personal hope.
Well, that won't affect paving at this point, regardless, it's going to be 26 feet wide. So that doesn't hinder having the county come in to do the asphalt. The painting will be done after it is paved,
For the striping.
correct?
It's gonna come, yeah. Yeah. The paving is gonna be what it is, but we're talking about striping.
Step 1 will be to grind, step 2 is to
Paving.
pave, step 3 is striping.
Plus, he mentioned, you mentioned 30 mph. That's something we would have to do as a board, town board, right?
Start with the town
Put the
board,
request into the
then move
DOT,
on to county,
the county.
you know,
We send it to
you
the-
start with town board okays it, then it goes to county. County okays it, then it goes to New York State DOT. New York State DOT has the final say over all speed zones.
How long process is that?
So just,
We're almost a year on State Street
Yeah.
right now with no work.
Yeah,
so just to be clear, where are we talking about for the 30-mile-an-hour speed zone? To Taylor Park or all the way to Jingleville Road?
My
I think they said all
recommendation
the way
would
to
be to go to
Jingleville.
Jingleville.
All the way to Jingleville Road. Okay.
so. I'm driving out there, I'm in the village.
Mhm.
That's 10 feet.
Mhm.
And then we're looking to make it, I'm just speaking out loud here, John.
That's fine.
Go to 9 feet. Isn't that gonna make cars get closer together? Like,
They-
are we gonna be
What do they
squeezed?
call that? Calming?
Traffic calming.
Traffic calming, that's called, when
Traffic
yeah,
calming.
when the lane's narrow, it's traffic calming.
Sounds a little dangerous. to
Well,
me if
it
you're
tends
getting
to slow,
close.
it tends to slow people down.
That's.
And that's a big concern in that stretch is having people slow down.
Well,
That's what it's called, traffic calming.
Exactly.
traffic calming, that's one I've never heard. Sounds very interesting.
If you have,
Yeah.
like, say,
Yeah.
two home heating delivery trucks meet out there. We know that trucks are 8.5 feet wide,
So they go slow.
plus their mirrors. So that will put them into the pedestrian lanes, or they rip their mirrors off when they meet one or the other. So, I mean, it's all things to consider.
And keep in mind that, you know, you say, talk about speed and whatever. Anybody thinks, if anybody thinks that putting a new road in is going to slow down traffic, it ain't gonna happen. It's just gonna speed them up.
It's human behavior.
I would
We
like to
see
do it.
this over and over and over again.
If you that site that you talking
Needs
about,
to be followed up.
Yeah, with 30 mile an hour.
I agree.
We gotta, I think we follow it up.
It's not gonna stop human behavior from people speeding.
so we know what the condition of Minor Street Road was in, and people complain about the speed on Minor Street Road now. If you go to that site that Stephen talked about, and I've been to it, that same traffic counter that the state did can also give you what the average speed of those 900 and some vehicles were on Minor Street back in that era. And I believe it was 33.4 miles per hour. Put that new road in, that's gonna change.
Wow.
So.
Okay,
Go a lot faster.
Well, keep in mind that
It's
that
the
counter was
road.
at the cemetery. So if you're coming out of the village, you're hitting that hill and you haven't had a chance to speed up yet.
okay, wait, I'm gonna ask you to hold your comment. Okay, so. Stephen, what you're saying is maybe 20s,
It's 20, the asphalt will be 26 feet wide, and I would like to research more to get my information correct.
but you're gonna pay 26,
Correct.
okay. Is everybody good with that?
That's a given. That's what we get. That's all,
we do.
that's all we can do
Okay.
based
And then
on,
the rest of
All
it.
right, I just.
Based
wanna
on
make
what's
sure the
there.
record's Clear that's
all
what
we
the
can do.
paving's gonna be, and then the striping still needs to, be discussed. Okay, let's, everybody good with that? All right, so I know people have public comment. If you want, if the board approves, we can take comment now on this issue, because there are people here that would like to speak to it.
Yeah,
I
Is the
think,
board in agreement with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, we're gonna open it up to public comment. We ask that you stand, state your name, where you live, and we're here to listen. It's not a back and forth discussion, but we're here to listen. So. Just the Minor
Just the one
Street,
topic.
just the one topic right now, because, that's where we're at. So who would like to go first, for public comment? You know, Toby, you wanted to talk, Sally, you did, so who would like to go first?
I defer to Sally.
Stand right up, Sally. I think we all know ya, but stand right up and identify yourself.
Many years ago, there was a petition that we, as Minor Street residents,
Excuse me,
signed.
this is Sally
Sally
Broman,
Broman,
and you live where?
187 Minor Street Road,
Okay,
right across from the Fairview Cemetery. Next to Tom Ryan in the log cabin. And I'm interested in your comments about having grown up on Minor Street and Toby's comments about running on Minor Street. I'm not a runner, I walk. And I'm pretty nimble, but I tell you, I've gotten more and more afraid as I walk. And you talk to Larry and Diana Goulden, they are worry warts, and somehow the worry has gotten to me. As I say, I'm nimble, but I'm not impervious to the speed. I was talking with Marianne, and she was out at Tom Woodside's property and appalled at the speed of the traffic on Minor Street. We lost when the Minor Street Bridge was made. I don't know how many years ago. We did a petition, 100 people signed it, and we gave it to the highway, the county highway board, and Dick Reno said, Sally, don't worry, we lost a sidewalk. There was a sidewalk on Minor Street, and we lost it
On the bridge.
on the bridge. Was Billings, I think, at that time, made a real commitment to pedestrian safety. And we had a sort of like a rector set kind of bridge, sidewalk.
Mhm.
And it was very effective. There was no problem about having to plow the snow in the wintertime, because no plow would ever go on the sidewalk. It was too narrow, but it was right for pedestrian traffic and bikers. And it seems to me that, the effort is being diverted. On the one hand, we're doing a bike path for bike and pedestrian safety. But wider is not safer. I remember talking to Dick Reno, and he was the highway superintendent at the time. Well, or the critical, maybe was he the?
He was county highway superintendent.
Yeah. And he said, we've made it wider for you, Stanley, don't worry. Wider is not safer. That is for certain. And I am here with a lot of my friends here because we share a concern for pedestrian and bike safety. There is public notice because of that petition about Minor Street residents who have expressed a concern for pedestrian bike safety. But it seems to me if we make the road wider, that goes against the issue of pedestrian safety. I'm happy to know that I like the idea of a bike path. My gosh, that's terrific. I'm really happy about that. And I think that with the construction of the new Minor Street Bridge, the number of walkers and bikers going out to Taylor Park, I think, is fewer than there used to be before the bridge was made. I think the bike path will induce and induce more pedestrians and kids going out to Taylor Park. I miss the kids. They don't come out like they used to. But anyway, I'm happy that there's going to be a bike path and Minor Street construction that is music to my ears. But God Almighty, the traffic, the speed, not necessarily the traffic. I'm happy people want to use the road, but the speed. You are astounded. I am every day.
I just want to be clear, I was out there last year checking out the drainage project and yeah, so. Okay,
Tom Woodside has some insight into what can slow the traffic down.
so is that a cue that you would like to speak next, Tommy?
Pardon me?
Or do you want to speak next?
No, anybody
Okay.
welcome to speak ahead of me. Maybe they'll cover some of my points.
Oh, okay. Anybody okay.
I'm Barb Rogers and I live at 989 Minor Street Road, way out at the end. And I second Sally's concern about the speed of traffic because I walk frequently at the end of Minor Street Road. The only thing worse than speeding traffic is people throwing garbage out of their cars. But first of all, I want to commend the highway department again for keeping up with plugging those holes in the road. Every chance you get, you're out there. You don't waste a thing. And I really notice it and I do appreciate it. And our road really does need repaving. But once we get this 26 feet of new asphalt times the mile or so that it's going to be, would you consider seasonal speed bumps? I know that the one by Appleton Arena is very effective for me when I come into town. I'm not a fast driver, so I would love a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit all the way to Eddie Coyote's Road. But what about the possibility of seasonal speed bumps that you can take up for the plowing season and leave down at least to Taylor Park through the park and swim season? And I'll save my other comments about broadband access till later. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
I have a question. What is a seasonal pump?
It's like a concrete barrier.
Is it portable?
Well, if you have a machine, it is,
Oh.
yeah, I would say it's hard to lift, yeah. It's just a half round. It can be varying heights, 4 inches, 6 inches, and it comes in lengths of, I don't know, you probably see them in your magazines, I don't know, maybe you could buy them in Watertown at the concrete place, they're usually painted yellow to mark them as a bump, and they have a handle on each end that's cable. So they can be moved, dragged, or
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I'll run my mouth for a while. You want me to?
Well, you got 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Ain't gonna happen.
Well, we gotta give everybody a chance. We have a long agenda, Tom.
Tom Woodside, 258 Minor Street Road. I live in the belly of this beast, just halfway between the top of the hill at the cemetery and Taylor Park. And I'm telling you, 33.5 miles an hour is not what they go by there. 60 and 70. If you don't believe me, ask Mike Pinkney. He used to make his quota out there, writing speeding tickets. He sat in my yard. He would write 4 to 5 speeding tickets in an hour. He's retired. No more police presence. Twice in the last 2 days, I've heard that you can't change humanity. I maintain you can. The humanity of this speeding that we have can be changed when these speeders start paying $400 and $500 and $600 speeding tickets, 2 and 3 and 4 points on their license, and an extra $1,500 a month or year, possibly, on their insurance. A police presence out there on a regular basis will cure your problem. All these traffic calming devices, that's a fantasy. That's nothing but a pipe dream. I see one answer. Enforcement, enforce the speed limit. We talked about this 2 years ago. I gave almost the same speech at that informational meeting that the engineers gave for this project. And everybody talked about the traffic calming devices, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna take pictures. We're gonna ask the sheriff to do this. Well, everybody talked about it, but nobody's done anything about it. And I realize we can't put a policeman out there 24 hours a day. I'm not suggesting that. But if they were there on a regular basis, it would cure your problem. Thank you.
Couldn't agree with you more, Tom.
What's that?
I couldn't agree with you more because, people come to our meetings all the time and they'll complain about speed. They'll complain about speed, but the one thing we're not is an enforcement agency. We're not an enforcement agency. And like you said, you can put all the signs up that you want. Now, I will tell you, and don't have to believe me, but I can see it, but there's a stop sign at the end of Morley Potsdam Road at the intersection of Sykes. I will guarantee you, or anybody in this room, that 60 to 70% of the vehicles that come up on that do not stop at that sign. They got sight clearance. They can see. Nobody coming right on through or right around. I mean, that one's nasty. And that Morley Potsdam Road gets probably 700 to 800 vehicles a day. And but I said, you're right, enforcement and I said, and writing tickets. But they got to start cracking down on
Enforcement is the
yeah,
answer,
yeah.
and the town board is gonna have to put pressure on state police or sheriff or even village police. They seem to have some kind of jurisdiction out there because of the proximity of
Taylor Park.
Taylor Park and the recreation department. John, you could speak to that.
Actually, they don't.
Yeah, I don't know if they-
We used to have to call either the sheriffs or the state police if there was an incident at Taylor Park. The village police does not have jurisdiction.
Why do they spend so much time up there?
That's a question. For the village. That's a question for the village board. I've been retired for 7 years, so it's not my circus, not my monkeys anymore, so I can't tell you why.
Tom Grazer, please don't put that in there. Okay, more public comment on this issue. Toby?
Toby Urban, Irish Settlement Road, and the chair of the Complete Streets Task Force, which some of you may know about and some of you probably have never heard of it. But we have been intimately involved in talking about and researching this project for at least 6 years and into the reports that have been written. So Minor Street Road is something that I'm intimately connected with because of my 40 years of running and biking in this community. And I have to say, and I have to challenge the fact that I agree, human behavior can be changed. But I also agree that there is research that says that you can do things to prompt better behavior. Narrower lanes prompt people to make change. Speed limits make some inroads to change behavior. And I appreciate that you're saying out to Jingleville Road, because Jingleville Road is an integral part of this whole project. And the folks who live out there use the corridor as well. So I really would encourage strong support for the speed limit. And if you're going to narrow it down to 26 feet, then slam on that 9-foot driving lane and really make a case for it, because 9 feet is perfectly adequate. You're going to have more pavement. If you put a 2-foot or a 3-foot paved shoulder lane and limit it to that, then you've got a whole nother problem. That's as dangerous as having gravel. You might as well just put gravel, because 2 feet is not tenable. All you have to do is look at the county roads, which have pitiful shoulder widths everywhere, and they won't even consider changing their behavior. We're trying to make a statement about this piece of road and say this can be done, and we're concerned about the people who are on foot, on bicycles, the children and the school classes that go to Taylor Park. And I really appreciate the people who've come out tonight to speak, direct residents from Minor Street Road. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Toby. Any other comment on this issue?
Just briefly,
Can you stand up? No, you didn't
my
know
name's
yourself?
Joyce Davis, and I'm neighbors. So I'm right in that. As soon as they go around that curve at Taylor Park, they go so fast up that hill. I mean, they get at really 70s. It's just remarkable in the summer. It's really particularly bad in the summer. And it makes it dangerous for the pedestrians that are on those side, that they're gonna be, I mean, it's, to me, it's even more important to make sure that there's some kind of regulation, because it's gonna be more dangerous the more pedestrians are on those side passages, it just, I see, I mean, the Crusher Road was paved, really sort of nice. I don't know who did that, but, because I drive that Crusher Road a lot. And there was a woman that drove 100 miles an hour on that road after it was paved.
Oh.
And ran into a tree with her 2 kids. I'm just saying, they couldn't have done that when it was when it was rough. But it's just an example of, they'll see a nice smooth path and they'll go faster. Anyway, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Any other comment on this issue? All right, well, we thank everybody for that, and we'll try to move forward the best we can. Dog license fees. We had this on the agenda a while ago, and I've asked Heidi to give us more information because we are starting the budget process, and we had talked about what the current cost of licenses are that don't even match the code that we have. We don't know where that got changed. Heidi's been trying to research that. So Heidi, I'm going to turn that over to you.
Yeah, so we brought this up last budget session about possibly changing the fee amount for dog licenses. Current, like Marianne said, I don't know when it was changed. It does not match our code book, what we charge. So we need to work on getting that corrected. So right now, for a spayed or neutered dog is $7 and unspayed is $14. The state gets, Ag and Market gets $1 for every spayed or neutered license, and then $3 for unspayed and neutered. New York State Ag and Market law is that you have to have a $5 difference between what you're gonna charge. So we currently, it's $7 for spayed, 14 for unspayed or unneutered. My recommendation would be to increase it. And this is doing research with all county clerks and how much each town charges. So off that, my recommendation would be to increase the spayed and neutered fee to $14 and unspayed or neutered to either $20 or $21. And that's again, going off an average of what the other towns and other towns are talking about increasing their fees as well. So that's just my recommendation.
Board members, any questions? I think we need to pursue this and increase the fees.
And this is just a one-time, it's an annual fee once a year. The dog owner only pays this fee once a year, and it is for the service of your dog warden. So you need to consider that too. And I do have like a little pack if anybody wants to see from our last Ag and Market training. Yeah, right.
I'd make a motion to increase the fee for unneutered for neutered to 14 and unneutered to 20.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, I'm opening it up for discussion. This is a law, so Eric, legally, we can pass a verbal resolution tonight, and then,
We can do a proposed local law amendment for next month.
okay. So there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Thanks, Heidi. Okay, the town revaluation timeline, that is in your packet. I just wanted you to have that information. We do need to pass a resolution to move forward with the revaluation. And so I'll be putting that back on the agenda for next month. And you'll have more detail as to exactly our timeline, but it's coming up fast. The good thing is, interviews have been made, for the part-time clerk for the assessor's office, and we're at the end of that process, and that'll also be at the June, meeting for an appointment, for that part-time clerk. So we're moving forward. Okay, town seal update. You have Richard Casera here. Heidi, can you pull that up? Hi, Richard.
Hi.
If he wants to start
So,
talking, he
Richard?
can.
Just give a brief history of the seal.
I just wanted to thank you, the board, and you for allowing me to finish an art project that was started 30 years ago. Basically, that's what it was.
Okay, you want to stand up so everybody can hear you?
Sure.
Thank you.
Exactly.
30 years
It was
ago,
30
were
years
you
ago.
supervisor when it,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I ended up paying for it.
in what way?
No.
Financially?
Well, Linda Casserly was the one she made it a project to be an art project.
You're
And
stealing
so
my speech.
it was a
Oh,
contest.
oh,
Yeah, it
okay.
was a contest.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is what was selected for the
Yeah.
contest, but when you Google Town Seal of Canton, this is what comes up, which is why I wanted to update it. I worked with Dick Ashley, and in April of '95, we tweaked the logo a little bit and we added some things to it, and he did a beautiful job on the window. And I just worked with Brooke at Clever Fox, and we did this in a vector. It doesn't matter if you use it or not, but it's out there. And it's better than what was done 30 years ago. And in vector, it means like with a computer image, they were rasterized. And anytime you moved it, it would pixelate. When you blew it up or anything like that, turn into little boxes. In vector, this will change in size. Yeah.
So this
And it doesn't lose any of its artistic integrity. And when I requested to do this, I said I was going to keep all the same elements. I just tweaked it a little bit.
You had one thing on there.
Your folder back on.
It's a Remington.
Oh.
The
Yeah, this is the one that he drew.
Yeah.
You notice any difference?
That's nice.
You notice any difference in this? The
Uh-huh.
one that's up there?
Yeah, the snow.
No.
I don't see snow on that.
No,
But the original does have.
it's the Remington.
Which it can't be called. the
And
Remington.
so this was the original, but he submitted it. And so it ended up,
So he
when
won the
when he
contest.
submitted it, it ended up in the newspaper. I get a call, I was supervisor at the time, that from the Remington Museum saying, sorry,
Can't use that.
but you can't use that.
Yeah, he's the Bronco Buster.
That was the Bronco Buster that he put in originally, and that's trademarked. So he said you can't use it. So Linda Kasher and I made a trip to Ogdensburg. Nice visit to the Remington Museum, sat down with Lowell McAllister. And he gave us some options. That's the option that we come up with, and I chose it because the name of that is
The Elk.
the Outlaw. Outlaw.
That is perfect.
Right?
So is that you on the horse?
That was.
Okay, you're looking familiar. That's a great story. But you did add the waves. Or no?
Yeah, just stylize the waves a little bit. That original Russian design was done by Mark Scanlon, and that's older than 30 years because it existed and they're still using it 62 years later. So I didn't want to change any of the elements of that.
Okay.
Blue Wave, Geneseo Swim Team, Blue Wave, yeah.
No, that's great, and you know, I'm kind of related to Dick Ashley, so all those glass things that
He's
here and at the county,
Yeah,
he's,
Yeah.
he's, yeah,
very talented.
I'm proud of
And
that
I'm
family member.
pretty sure at the time Lowell told us that if we took that design and we used it for an extended period of time, and we could document that we had it on that logo on letterheads and whatever, at some point, if we wanted to, we could trademark that seal as being the town of Canton. And he said, if you did that, then they would not be able to trademark that outlaw because it would already be trademarked by someone.
Well, it's been around 30 years. I was gonna make the shadow of the cow in the shape of a solar panel, but.
Oh,
He brought that to me, I said, don't you dare.
Too many.
I made sure the cow, I was happy when I saw the cow coming from a dairy farmer, but I was the one that did say, are we gonna take that out and put in a solar panel?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, those are the
Yeah, no way.
education is the first.
Yep.
Thing. The snowflakes represent our Winterfest here and our snow, and the cow and agriculture, and Remington's birthplace and burial place, and the Russian canoe, which has been around for 62 years.
well, in maybe 10 to 15 years, there's not gonna be any snow, so we'll talk then,
I know.
but.
We can remain in memories.
And no offense to you, Rick, but the only thing I did, there's no question, you had the best entry. But I just felt bad awarding it to you over some of these kids in at school that did some real good presentation.
Still exists. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it for Canton.
No, it turned out that it
Well,
was,
thank you,
it
thank
was-
you for all your work on this, we appreciate it, and now we can actually use it on.
I already updated mine.
Oh, I did.
I did.
But I really do feel we need to rebrand the town of Canton, you know, those signs that are out there in the town of Canton, I really feel that we need to look at that as well, and maybe replace those signs somehow, but.
is that on the trucks?
Some of the trucks, the last 4 or 5 have been done with, lettering.
Okay,
At the asphalt plants, they had a little trouble from,
Oh.
scale houses and stuff. The lettering's so small
Mhm.
that it was hard to differentiate from other towns, so we went with a large Canton and then town of highway department.
so, thank you, Jim, you outlaw, thank you, Richard, appreciate it. All right, we really, we enjoy positive things for sure. Okay, new business. What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Suna Stone. I'm moving you up on the agenda.
Okay,
Suna. And this is, Suna is on the Sustainability Committee. And we've been working on the NYSERDA Clean Energy Communities campaign.
Right.
And so, I asked if she would come in and explain it to the town because the village is really making out as far as points and, you know, going for grants. And so the town, I'm not expecting action tonight, but to consider what's being proposed.
Sure, sure.
Hi,
So-
Tina.
Hi there.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I live in the village. The Clean Energy Communities Program is a NYSERDA program. And it's a points-based program where if you make certain actions, high impact actions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, you earn points and the points add up. And if you earn enough points, you're eligible for no match grants. So right now Canton has 200 points for completing energy code enforcement training. There's other easy opportunities to earn more points. One would be energy benchmarking. Any town facility, 1,000 square feet or less. And that's keeping track of things like electricity use, natural gas consumption, anything you burn to fuel your building. And you're gonna keep track and benchmark, how much are we using this year? And then the idea being that you've got a benchmark and you're gonna make improvements to your facilities to decrease energy use and decrease greenhouse gas emissions. So that's an option. It's a platform that NYSERDA provides. It's just a matter of working with a clerk to get your energy bills and inputting data into that NYSERDA tool. So that's a way we could earn some more points. If you pass a resolution to do annual benchmarking, it's a matter of publishing the baseline benchmark to your every year thereafter. You would just report how much energy you're using and how much greenhouse gas is being emitted. So that would earn probably another 500 points. And a big one that we can ride on the coattails of what the village is going to be doing is community campaigns. So I'm going to have Evelyn talk. Okay, so the benefits here. If we earn 1,000 points, which we could do easily, you get $10,000. No match grant. You could be using that for things like paying someone to do the greenhouse gas inventory. You want to do a whole greenhouse gas inventory. You could do that to evaluate energy use in your buildings. Look at ways to reduce energy consumption. Would you be doing maybe installing a heat pump or insulating a building? So it's engineering, basically engineering or consultant fees could be paid by that $10,000. If you go up to 3,000 points, which is achievable, $50,000 grant. And you can use these grants to purchase electric landscaping equipment. You could use it to install an EV charging station. You could use it for purchasing an electric vehicle. There's a number of categories of projects that you can fund with these $50,000, $10,000 grants. And if you get 5,000 points, it's 100 grand. So no match grants, you don't have to match. It's really nice. It's one of the easier grant opportunities. So Evelyn's going to talk about an opportunity to earn some big points this summer. And Evelyn is a Clarkson graduate, and she is an AmeriCorps volunteer with the Campus
Climate Action Corps.
Yeah.
At St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
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 Hi, you wanna stand up?
So yeah.
Give me your last name.
LaFerrier. So yeah, I have been helping the Sustainability Committee and the Village of Canton work on a community campaign, which is a pretty easy way to earn points for the Clean Energy Communities program. And we kind of can take the same campaign that we're using for the village to use for the town. And what it's focusing on is community solar, electric vehicles, and clean heating and cooling. And community solar can include subscriptions to any form of community distributed generation. So that can include Northern Power and Light and our local hydro. And then electric vehicles is considering if people in the town purchase new electric vehicles or plug-in hybrids. And then the clean heating and cooling is if people in the town install heat pumps or geothermal or heat pump water heaters in their home. Or it can also count if they apply for different incentive or rebate programs to be able to get a heat pump in their home. And the goal would be to have 10 solar and hydro subscriptions in the town, 5 EV purchases, and 5 heat pump installations or applications for rebates. And we're collaborating with the Energy Navigator volunteers through Cornell Cooperative Extension. I'm also an Energy Navigator volunteer and I've been trained in that. So we have volunteers that go around and talk to people about home energy and things like that. And we've been trying to promote this campaign. And Nick Hamilton Honey and I from Cornell have been working on making door hangers that we're going to be handing out this summer with information about this campaign and how to report the information so that the village and town can earn points.
Ooh,
Nice
so
question.
You all have this in your packet as well.
So the goals of 10-5-5, is that town outside or is it both village and town? Because
So
the
we-
village is part of the town.
So we submitted one campaign that would be just for the village, and then we would have to submit a new one that would be for the towns. They would be two separate.
Town outside though, outside the village?
Correct.
So the grants,
Yes,
do they send the money first or is it a reimbursable?
they send the money first.
Oh, I like that. Jim, did you have any questions on this? Okay, well, it sounds like the village is really taking off and a lot of good things are happening, so, we'll put this back on the agenda for further discussion and consideration, next month, and, a lot of good things going on. Okay? All right, you good, John?
We're good.
Okay. Suna, thank you. Evelyn, thank you. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. Got a lot of good things going on, but don't hesitate if you need to leave. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. Good
Hate to
stuff.
leave you, Mary Ann.
I know,
Hate to
Tom.
leave.
We'll see you later. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Okay, have a good night.
Don't
Okay,
get caught for speeding on your way home.
that's right. Drive slow, Tom. Drive slow. Okay, well, I'm gonna go to number 4, because it has to do with, climate change. So I attended an Associated Colleges, Climate Vulnerability Roundtable Luncheon. You got the, report in there and the most, profound, data that is being, it's just pretty amazing. And remember last year we had the Eco Adapt workshop that I participated in, but we're gonna be seeing an increase in frequency and duration of heat waves. There's gonna be shifts in amount and timing of rainfall. There's gonna be more extreme precipitation. There's gonna be an increase in frequency and severity of river flooding, fluctuating lake levels, increasing frequency and severity of extreme weather events, and a likely increase in seasonal drought. So it's here. In my view, it's real, and we need to pay attention to that. So, okay. New York State DOT Emergency Shared Services Agreement renewal. We need to get the notice on April 11th. We signed this 2 years ago. It's a 2-year agreement between the New York State Department of Transportation, assisting our municipal government in responding to emergencies. So,
So moved.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so there's a motion to sign the shared services agreement between New York State DOT and Donald County. Any questions? For 2 years, right? We're not going 4. We're gonna do every 2. Okay, any questions?
Pretty much a
comments?
boilerplate agreement that we do every 2 years with
Yeah.
the state for search.
So if something happens, they agree to help us, we agree to help them, pretty much. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried. Okay, Rensselaer Falls Highway construction request, there's a second request from Rensselaer Falls to put in a culvert. I'm gonna ask Stephen to speak really briefly about that. We need the board to approve it so we can move forward. Stephen?
It's just a driveway pipe. Their policy is basically the same as what the town policy. This homeowner bought the pipe, Rensselaer Falls. Gonna do the installation, which. I estimate around 300 for labor and 50 for fuel to do it. It's just a driveway pipe. I say it like that, probably something bad will happen, it's the way it goes, but it's just, standard.
So the procedure is Rensselaer Falls requested of Stephen gives them numbers, they approve it, and then we approve it, and then I send them an MOU, it's a written document so that they'll pay it. And then when the job's done, I invoice them and then we get paid.
And we do, just to clarify for Wayne, how we do them is, give an estimate basically, then bill actual working hours.
Right.
And then fuel is, actual gallons we use, and then the price we pay at the time we do it.
Right.
So it's fair that way to make it right.
Okay, did I ask for a motion already?
Nope.
A motion to approve this. I make the motion. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried. All right, number 5, recreation budget. We have a shared services agreement that, that the committee, was back with a recommendation. The board's supposed to see a recreation budget and then, this is for the 2025 budget session. So Randy and John are the committee, so I'm gonna turn it over to both of you.
You want me to do it? All right, so we sat down and, I think I sent you guys the email about the amount and everything. So what we did is, sat down, it's a joint, and the reason that we have to have it now ahead of the rest of the budget process is because it's joint village town, and the village is going through the process of going up to their budget right now. It's due for July, and according to the agreement, actually, we're supposed to have it done in April, but we ran into some snags in negotiations, so we're a little bit late. And the budget was 154,550,
Mhm.
and that included, one of the reasons that they were so big is because of the one of the expenses we have is we share the cost of the employees with the village. And the health insurance went up remarkably. And, so that was one of the things, and then, there's been a slight disparity, not slight, there's been a disparity between what the recreation employee, workers are getting compared to other town and village workers. And trying to close that gap a little bit. That's how we came up with this number. You know, John and I worked hard on it, and we think it's fair, based on all of our meetings we've had. How many times for this?
Numerous.
Yeah, at least 6 or 8 times trying to get this budget done. And I think it's in my opinion, you know, and I'm outspoken about this. I feel a town has to have a strong recreation program. Because if someone's gonna move into town or stay in town, if I have a chance, and I have young kids and I have a chance to move to somewhere that has a strong recreation program and one that doesn't, I'm going to the one with a strong recreation program. And I think Megan's done a good job, you know, beefing it up. You know, we've had a long tradition of strong recreation, and I think this number reflects that and will help us continue in that process.
So that's not the total of the recreation budget. That number is the contribution
Correct.
from the town to the recreation.
Yes, our half.
So are you
Of the net.
saying that, the village recreation budget is twice that amount that we're contributing?
Not twice, no.
Okay,
The
so what
total-
is the total recreation budget for the village?
So what the village did, we just got a thing, so one of the goals of the village is they wanted to even out the salaries. So that the recreation do the same.
I think what she's asking, Randy, is what's the total budget number?
I know,
For
but I
recreation?
wanna explain what happened.
Okay, go ahead.
So,
Because we haven't gotten the monthly reports. We gotta beef up on that and follow the agreement. We haven't gotten those.
I just got a monthly report.
We
from
just got one
Megan.
today,
We
matter
got
of
one
fact.
today.
Mm,
But that's from Megan. So anyway, so what they said, they really wanted to do it, and we said it's just not financially feasible for us to bring it all in up to par. So they said, well, they said, we went with 154. They opted on their own above and beyond the 154 to close that gap in the village money, not in the rec money. So you take the net profit, 150, which was an extra $10,000. So you take the 154,550 times 2, and that's the net. And then they put in an extra $10,000 to equalize the salary.
so the budget's like 325 to run that program? Like what's,
It's that times 2, is in that,
it is?
and that's, yeah. And plus 10,000 that they put in. Now that's net because, when actually when they do the budget, they take the how much they get from the marina, how much they get from the programs, and that's the deficit they feel they'll have. And that's how much they need.
So that's without the revenue that they receive. Because they receive a lot of revenue, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There-
so
there
that-
is
a lot of revenue. It's probably about a third of the budget, at least it was in my day. 2/3 is made up by the town and village.
I am still interested in seeing an actual budget of the recreation program,
So,
so.
so you're saying the contribution from each adds up to like, what's that, 309 or something like that? But what you want is the total budget might be 400 because there's, you know,
Mhm.
Oh, there you go.
92,000 revenues, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
What you're looking for. What's the total budget? What's revenues?
So that's the agreement, and then we're supposed to get monthly reports as well. So,
If this is right, what I'm looking at here with that report we received today, the budget's 338,100.
okay. So again, this is a recommendation for the 2025 town budget.
Our portion, yes,
Okay,
which Randy stated the village is contributing more. Because they really want to bring the salary differential up.
all right, is there a motion to this?
I make a motion to accept the dollar for the recreation.
150,
154, 550.
I second that.
So the motion on the table is this is the town contribution for the 2025 budget. Any further questions or concerns? Will you please get us a copy of the budget? And if we can get assured that we get those monthly reports as
Well,
well,
we're gonna,
that would be helpful.
we're gonna meet again and bring it up.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No, not the opposed, but I said, I'll go along with it, but like you said, it's a little out of character for us to be approving spending 154,000 taxpayers' money like this and not seeing the budget. I mean, it'd be good. I'd like to be able to see it, but you know, I understand you should both seen it, but
But doesn't the village budget hasn't already been passed?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
that's a yes.
okay. All right, thank you for all your work, John and Randy. I know it's not easy. The next item is resignation of bar member Elliot Rhodey. This is just to acknowledge his resignation. Again, 10 years is pretty remarkable, to sit on the Board of Assessment Review. That's not an easy job. And we certainly, on behalf of the board, appreciate, Elliot Rhodey's service. We are in need of another person to sit on the Board of Assessment Review. And if anyone's interested, they can certainly contact any one of us. So thank you, Elliot. I did reach out to him and, actually it's his ribbon cutting tomorrow night at the silo, yeah. Okay, the last item is the 2025 town budget development process. Hardly seems possible, but it's here. So if you could review those dates again, this is all subject to change. It changed last year, but this gives us a target of when we have our regular board meetings, we will have board work sessions. It's quite the process and we appreciate Gray and Gray helping us out with the budget process and I think we do a pretty good job with that. So that's the last item. All right. Under new business. The last time is public comment. This is another time for us to listen. Is there any further public comment? Toby?
Back again. Not as a biker or runner. I would like to ask the question again about financial statements and whether you made a decision on the request I made 2 months ago that those be part of the packet online. And when we could hear those reports or have those reports on a monthly basis. Secondly, is to renew my at least annual request that you consider zero-based budgeting at least one time. If you're going to be coming up with an exceed the cap budget this year, which certainly we've had rumors to that effect, then I think it's only fair that there be a zero-based budget basing that tax increase. we're being slammed with a school budget increase of 6.5%. I'm fully in favor of schools. I have a permanent New York State certification to teach math. Been through the school system. I've never voted against a budget, but 6.5%. So if the town follows that pattern, I think we are deserving of a zero-based budget, because there's always money to be found in such a process. Having been through that process on a number of occasions, please consider that carefully.
And other public comment? Barbara?
Yep, Barb Rogers again, Minor Street Road resident. I wanted to go back to the dog licensing fees discussion. When you were talking about raising the fees, I think that's a great idea. I'm not a dog owner, but I was wondering if you might consider raising the fees for unspayed and unneutered dogs to much higher as an incentive for dog owners to consider spaying and neutering their pets. They go from, you were suggesting $14 and $20, but like, how about $10 and $25 or $15 and $30 for unspayed and unneutered dogs and cats? Because, you know, the Potsdam Animal Shelter is our local shelter, and they're always begging for adoptive families and foster families to, you know, take in these pets that are the offspring, well, in my humble opinion, of irresponsible pet owners. And I know that charging more for a license might not encourage them to get the dog neutered tomorrow, but it sends a message that we support spaying and neutering your pets by offering, say, a discount to dog owners who do spay and neuter their pets. So that's, I hope that maybe you would revisit that discussion and reconsider the pricing structure on dog registrations to either give a break to people who do spay and neuter their pet, or add some incentive for those other pet owners to do so. And my only other remark is, again, hats off to the highway department. I so appreciate you being out there on Minor Street Road plugging little holes. And I just can't wait for broadband internet. And I haven't seen it on the agenda in a long time. So I'm just here to just kind of stir the tank a little bit more. I don't know. I know you're not here to answer questions, but I kind of heard through the grapevine last year that you couldn't even get a bid from a provider that would even consider these little internet deserts that we have in the town. And I don't know if that's right or wrong. You could just blink twice if that's the truth. So I don't know what we can do, but it's, you know, sometimes it's lonely without internet when you use all your data up and there's just nothing left to do but play solitaire. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Barbara.
In response to that a little bit, just this week, 5 days ago, I got an email from the county. Asking, they said that they're trying to, says we're trying to clean up the map that shows where broadband is and is not in the county. And they're asking for, like, on the road that I live on, they wanted to know.
They've been doing that for a while.
They want,
Answer that.
Yeah.
they wanted to know how service my road was, and I told them that Spectrum was on it, except for 2 houses, and that was my neighbor, myself and my neighbor. But if you want to live on a dead end road, so vehicles don't go by your house at 70 miles an hour, you might not have broadband right away.
Well, and there was there is a broadband committee and who has done a lot of work. It's been John and Toby, and then.
May I just say the update on that very quickly?
Yes.
There is a meeting next week, a regular meeting of that committee. We expect an update from the contracts that have been awarded for increased service. So we expect to have a much more detailed list of how far they are into spending the money that's been allocated. And the county committee has worked very hard to get those contracts in place. So there is a large program sort of on the cuff. They're tiptoeing into the community. I have more information specifically for you, Barb.
Appreciate it very much.
Okay, great. All right, with that being said, we need, oh, sorry. Public comment.
Margaret Mouth. There's a new law before the state Senate, which is called the Shooting Range Good Neighbor Law. And it has to do with regulations on shooting ranges that are near wetlands and open waters. And I'm wondering, do shooting ranges come under the town zoning in any way? I don't know if that would become an issue or not. We don't have shooting ranges right now in the town. But we may.
We'll have to look into that. All right. Thank you, Margaret. Any other public comment? With that being said, we do need to go into executive session for the following, what time is it? It is 7:40, so the following items: litigation, history of a particular corporation, and history of a particular employee. I need a motion to, I'm making a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, carry. All right. Yes.
So lots going on when you're fast.
No,
Sports was